Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh to my respected and beloved lecturer, Dr. Abdul Rashid Abdul Aziz. My name is Muhammad Asmar bin Omar. My metric number is 1172392. And today I'm going to present about my research proposal. The topic that I choose is the relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement among FKP students. So, without further any ado, let's get started. Firstly, for the background of the study, um, nowadays, the government always pays serious attention to the academic performance of students, either in school or in public university or private university. I think this because we, as a student, we will lead the leadership of the nation. So it's not surprising that the issue of student academic excellence has always been a hot topic of discussion and often steal the attention of the community and media. So studying at university requires us as a student to give high focus to facilitate the process of gaining knowledge. So basically, my background of the background of my study is basically to seek for facilitate the process of gaining knowledge. As a student, we need to pay attention, pay focus on our academic lesson in order to us to get a great achievement. So students have different level of motivation, different attitude toward teaching and learning, different response to the environment in the classroom, and different teaching activities. So all those things make us as a student um, try to regulate ourselves in order to get in order to gain knowledge in the classroom. So according to Malaysian Strategic Research Centre, paradigm shift in the Malaysian education system is a vital as the mainstream teaching and learning process lacks the substance to produce self-regulated learners, meaning that there's a less of students that cannot regulate themselves in terms of academic learning in the classroom. So, for the problem statement, the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia 2011 stated that academic achievement is an important element and is highly emphasized by society in the context of education oriented today. So, as we know, our parents, our society, our people in our surrounding really take this seriously about education of student in university. So, according to Kamarudin, the success and failure of student in academic does not depend solely on the teaching factors in the lecture room, but it's also related to learning process itself. So as a student, sometimes as a student we don't know how the right way to regulate our academic lesson, to regulate our motivation, to regulate our goals in achieving a good result in the academic. So that's the problem when we as a student we do not know the right way to regulate our uh, academic process. And other factors are also found to contribute to the cause of students' decline in academic achievements, such as inconsistency of strategies and teaching approach. So the keyword here is inconsistency of strategies and teaching approach, meaning that there's a lot of student. There's no right strategies, no inconsistency of strategies in the academic process. So this is my research objective. The first one is to study the degree of regulated learning among FKP students. Secondly, to determine the level of academic achievement among FKP students. And thirdly, to identify the relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement among FKP students. So basically, this is these three variables that I will study. So for the research question, firstly, what's the degree of self-regulated learning among FKP students? Secondly, what's the level of academic achievement among FKP students? Thirdly, what's the relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement among FKP students? So this is my hypothesis of study. There's no significant correlation between self-regulated learning and academic achievement, and there's no significant correlation between self-regulated learning. So, for the limitation of study, the number of respondents in this study is limited to 150 of faculty, leadership, and management students, meaning that, according to Critchie and Morgan, 150 is the numbers that are really appropriate for take respondent for this study. Secondly, the limitation is this research is also limited to a specific population in Malaysia, Islamic Science University of Malaysia student in Nilai Negeri Sembilan. So meaning that this research um, will only take part USIM student only. Thirdly, another limitation of the study is possible shortcoming that may derive from the survey method used in this study. Scope of study: the study was conducted among first-year University Science Islamic students and focused in faculty leadership and management. The scope of this research is limited to first-year students of faculty leadership and management. There are 5 courses under faculty of leadership of management, which is counseling, dakwah, akidah, new media, and media communication. So basically, this five program of the FKP, I will choose for to be my respondents. For significance of study, the study hopes to encourage students to improve learning performance through proper learning practice and know the learning disabilities they may face, meaning that this study will encourage students to improve learning performance. Secondly, it's also be able to provide guidance to lecturers to further strengthen their teaching approaches. Thirdly, this study will help the Faculty of Leadership Management to detect students' academic problem and improve the environment and quality of teaching and learning. So for definition of term, my first variable is self-regulated learning. So conceptually, self-regulated learning as an active constructive process whereby learners set goals for their learning plan, action and monitor, regulate and control their cognition, motivation as well as behavior. So this definition from Pinterest 1999 for the operational, this study measures self-regulated learning through motivated strategy for learning questionnaire. So MSLQ was founded by McKinsey, Pinterest, Lin, and Smith, 1986. Second variable, academic achievement. The meaning is what the student have learned or what skills the student has learned is usually measured through assessment like standardized tests, performance assessment, and portfolio assessment. So next, operational academic achievement will be measured by cumulative grade point average CGPA of students. Some of literature review summary. I just take some of full of uh, literature's review. So based on the past research that was made by a lot of scholars in terms of self-regulated learning, especially Zimmerman. Zimmerman is a first scholar that's talking about self-regulated learning. So according to Zimmerman, self-regulated learning is multi-dimensional concept that underlines the learner's active function, Self-regulated learning is commonly understood as the process by which students take an active and purposeful role in the management of motivational, cognitive, and behavioral elements of their own learning. So, meaning that self-regulated learning is how a student regulate themselves or manage themselves in terms of study, in terms of academic process in the classroom. So, there's a lot of factors lah. There's a lot of factors that if that influence a student in the academic process, such as motivational, cognitive, and also behavioral. So this element is is controlled by student itself. So another research that was made by Shang and Zimmerman 1998 mentioned that self-regulated learning arises from two sources, social and self-directed experience. Social source, which whole adults such as parents, teachers, and coaches, and peers also, sibling, friend, classmate. The scholars attempt to analyze self-regulated learning. Is important to recognize that the strategies, behaviors, and effects discernible by students are something that can be regulated because of existence of others around them. So meaning that the environment also influence students in terms of self-regulated learning. So for the second variable is academic achievement. Basically, academic achievement is an outcome of the performance that indicate what level of personal and educational goal a student has achieved at university. And university are primarily focused on cognitive goals such as knowledge, critical thinking, or intellectual domain, numeracy, literacy, history, and science. But academic achievement is constructed with more different domain of learning. As stated by ELIT 2015, academic achievement is commonly measured through examination or continuous assessment, but there's no general implementation of it is best assessed or which aspects are most relevant. As example, gaining knowledge activities such as learning new skill or declarative knowledge such as fact. So basically, academic achievement is used in all university, in all school, and the function of academic achievement is as a KPI, or we can say it as we can say as key performance index for a student to know the weakness or strength of a student in academic process. So for the third variables, the relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement, there are some studies in terms of the relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement. A self-regulated student is characterized as a student who is aware not only of task requirement but also on his own needs with regard to optimal learning experience. This study was made by McCann and Garcia. So the self-regulated learners actively avoid behaviors and learning to occur and understand when and how to utilize such strategies that increase perseverance, and performance. In fact, self-regulated learners view learning as a controllable process. They constantly plan, organize, monitor, and evaluate their learning during this process. So, according to McCann and Garcia, there are significant relationship between self-regulated learning and academic achievement. So, this are theory that base my research, uh, social cognitive model of self-regulation. Um, Social cognitive theory implies that self-regulation is comprised of three processes such as self-observation, self-judgment, and self-reaction, according to Bandura. So also discuss the behavioral determinants of self-regulation. Self-regulation. Xiang 1994 explained the social cognitive model of self-regulation on the basis of credit view. He argued that when the student begin the learning activities, they have some goals such as acquiring skills and knowledge, completing work, and making grades. During these activities, students observe, judge, and react to their perception of goal progress. In terms of Islamic perspective, in Islam, knowledge is really precious elements of a life in Islam. So learning is very important in Islam, as the Prophet Muhammad said, "Talabul ilm faridatun ala kulli muslim," meaning that seeking knowledge is obligatory for every Muslim. So, in terms of self-regulated learning, in Islam, um, there is obligatory, there is compulsory of every Muslim to to gain knowledge in whatever situation, like in in university or in school, anywhere. It's a compulsory for a Muslim to gain knowledge. So for the methodology of my study, I will use quantitative method, specifically correlational study between two variables. Then and the data was collected via questionnaire. And survey will be conducted by using motivated strategies for learning questionnaire, as I mentioned earlier. The sampling design, sampling of course refer to the process or technique in selecting a number of individual or respondent for my study. So as I mentioned it earlier, 150 respondents will be selected among FKP students. The sample included male and female from the first year student. The sample will be selected using non-probability convenience method. The instrument self-regulated learning, MSL2, Motivated Strategy for Learning Questionnaire by McKitchy, Pinterest, Lin, and Smith. And for the academic achievement, will be measured by cumulative grade point average or CGPA of students. Data collection after researcher of obtain approval from supervisor, respondent will be met by asking for permission to introduce the study to the class in order to solicit participant. So as a researcher, I need to obtain approval from my supervisor, from respondent, to give to distribute questionnaire, and then I will have meeting with the student, um, meaning my objectives to require time allocation, and also contact information. For the next convenient meeting times were arranged with interested students to further explain the study and answer question. And participants were informed that the total of time for the study was estimated to be 15 to 20 minutes, and that all information will remain confidential through a coding process that ensured anonymity. Data analysis, the data was analyzed by SPSS, IBM SPSS statistic software for reliability analysis, correlation, frequency distribution, and descriptive statistic. Data and table presentation will be used to condense information and present it clear format, highlighting relationship. And this is my pilot study for 10 respondents. Um, For intrinsic goal, there are four items in the for the dimension intrinsic goal. There are four number of items, and the alpha value is 0.77, and the next one intrinsic goal 0.94, task value 0.87, control of learning belief 0.88, self efficacy 0.76. And basically the good alpha value is between 0.60 to 0.95, and according to my pilot study, the numbers that I got are very well. So that's all from me. Thank you for the attention, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.